First, like this video and subscribe to the channel. Can we hit 50 subs today?
This is nearly an unbelievable story. It happened back in 2008. My friend Sarah came into work disheveled, tired, and acting very strange. After a while, I asked her if something was wrong, and she told me she'd like to speak with me outside. She said, "I'm only telling you this because you're into spiritual things. No one else will believe me." She went on to say that her sister Crystal had a long-distance boyfriend named Tom. I'm making up these names. Tom, unfortunately, had unalived himself a week prior. Crystal would call to talk to his roommates since then, but Tom would break into the phone line and talk to them. I don't remember exactly how it worked, but typically they would have to be on the phone for him to break into the line. At first, Crystal thought they were all playing a cruel and vicious joke, so she called his local police department to confirm he was dead. He was dead. Other practical joke things were ruled out, as he was able to break into different phone conversations. She didn't have to be on the phone with his roommates for this to happen. Eventually, they were somehow able to talk directly. I do not know how this worked, but the point being that nefarious jokesters were ruled out. There was no logical explanation for how this happened, and how often it happened. It was also clearly Tom because of the memories and experience that only Tom and Crystal knew about, as well as his general cadence. My friend told me that they'd be up all night on the phone talking. He was a bit disturbed, but definitely the same person with the same memories they used to know. He was in a dark place, literally. Everything was dark where he was. He didn't know where he was or what was going on. He talked in a very gruff manner, complaining that his throat hurt, which directly connects to the way he unalived himself. Though he was scared and angry, he was also fascinated with his new form Dar abilities. The night before Sarah came to me, Tom and Crystal were on the phone talking all night. He told Crystal, "I'm going to play a joke on Sarah. She's going to wake up screaming but won't remember why. There's something here I can't remember with him being able to connect to Sarah while she was dreaming." He essentially gave her a nightmare. Just after, Sarah began screaming like crazy in her room. Crystal came in and asked her what's wrong. Sarah said, "I don't know." She couldn't remember anything, but Tom told her that he scared her in her sleep. Clearly, she was not amused. At this point, it was kind of like a poltergeist situation. I didn't know how to help, but I became emotional support for my friend. I believed her and understood that she couldn't tell this to many people. This is where it gets real for me. A few nights later, I was on the phone with Sarah. We were both using our cell phones. I was on the bus on my way home. She said, "Yeah, Crystal and Tom are on the phone right now." A minute or two later, a third voice joins our call. In this terrifying, gruff voice, I hear, "Sarah, Sarah, Sarah." My entire body went numb. The voice was deep and dark. It sounded like someone had lost their voice due to laryngitis, but with more of a gruffness and darkness. I didn't know what to do or say, but when I finally got past the fight or flight response, I said, "Sarah, can you hear that?" She said, "Hear what?" She laughed to herself, and then said, "Call me back." I called her back and she wasn't able to hear Tom on the line at all. Although he came on the line looking for her, I was the only one that could hear him. Once again, although I had believed my friend, the situation became very real at that point. I can't remember what happened in the immediate time period after hearing Tom's voice, but over time, Tom had calmed down a bit, and it seemed he was moving away from the darkness that literally surrounded him. He and Crystal talked for at least 6 more months, many hours on the phone, probably hundreds. In that time, something amazing happened though. Sarah and Crystal's dad had suddenly passed maybe a year beforehand. Tom told them how, since they both love motorcycles, they would go visit motorcycle shows together. One time, their dad came through over the phone. I know that in the spirit realm, entities can pretend to be others, that there is an illusory nature to spirituality. But it sounded like their dad and had all the same memories. Since he died suddenly, they never got to say goodbye. He told them how much he loved them and how proud he was of them. They asked him if they should make any changes to how they live their life, and he said, "No, just keep doing what you're doing." It was a really beautiful moment. They were finally able to get closure from their father's passing. Over time, the calls became less and less frequent, and eventually, Tom faded away. From my understanding of spirit realms now, it makes sense that the realm closest to the physical is where a lot of folks go that die suddenly and/or tragically. These folks often do not know they are dead. In fact, Tom wasn't aware of it initially. I think this is why the spirits we come into contact with after often troubled, or if not, are emotionally tied to things and people on the physical. Enough of my theorizing, though. Besides my sister, no one else believed me. It was nothing short of an extraordinary experience. These are only some stories that I feel I can share, but perhaps the most remarkable. I may be preaching to the choir, but there is so much more to this world than the physical, so much more than what we think we understand.